Hello learners, this is Habiba with Excel with me. If you like the video, please do like, share, subscribe and comment below. Let's start today's class, that is UGC NET paper 2 education. Even it is very useful for SET, RCET, that is Research Common Entrance Test. So let's begin today's class, that is meaning and steps of scientific method. Let's start with introduction. The scientific method is a process used whilst accomplishing or conducting experiments and exploring observations. So conducting experiments and observations are very necessary to go or move forward to the modern technical world, because of which researchers only we are here with modern technology. Some areas of science rely extra heavily on this technique to answer questions, as they are more without problems tested than other areas. We have seen in science area, we just focus on so many experiments and research. So many areas are there to be learnt about. So extra heavily they will focus on this to answer the questions unsolved. Whatever problems are there, through research only we can solve the problems. The purpose or goal of this approach is to find out the relationships among cause and effect in diverse situations and applications. Why we do this research, scientific method, what is the purpose of this approach? That is to find out the relationship. I will explain you also this with example in further slides. Here, cause and effects, why this had happened. If it happened, what would be the effect? What were the causes for this situation? So cause and effect relationship they will understand to solve any problem. Now let's see the literal meaning of scientific method here. Standards and approaches for the systematic pursuit of knowledge related to the recognition and formulation of a problem, the gathering of data or statistics through observation and test, and the formulation and testing of hypothesis. So basically, what is scientific method? It's a systematic approach to find out the knowledge of what? To relate it to any problem. Formation of the problem, what first is finding the problem, what is the problem here. Then gathering of all the data related to the problem. Then through observations and tests, they will see how far this problem is there, what are the causes of this problem, what is the effect of this problem they will see, and formulation of this will happen. They will analyze all the data of, and then they will test the hypothesis. What is hypothesis? That is predetermined solution of any problem. First we will take any problem and then we will have some objectives. Why we are taking this problem? What is the objective of taking this problem? What is the aim? And then we have to formulate some hypotheses. That is any tentative solution of any problem which we are taking. So then after the data collection and all, analyzing things, and then hypothesis testing will be done. Now what are the steps of the scientific method? Let's understand here. There could be many according to the situation and problem. Here I have taken the 7 steps of scientific method. Let's see what are those 7 steps. First, ask a question. Second, perform research. Third, establish your hypothesis. Then third, test your hypothesis by conducting an experiment. Then make an observation. Then analyze the results and draw a conclusion. Then present the findings. So these are the 7 steps. We will discuss in detail each of the steps now. The first one, ask a question. That is, the first step in the scientific method is asking a question, query, which you need to reply. You have to take the question and you have to find out the answer to that. This query will consist of one of the key starters, which might be how, what, when, why, where, who, or which. We have to answer all these questions. There should be such problem here. The question you ask ought to also be measurable and answerable via experimentation. Whichever question we are taking, it should be done some measure, taken some measures, or it could be experimented. It is frequently something that can be measured with a numerical result, although behavioral results are a part of the scientific method as well. We can take qualitative measures also, quantitative. Qualitative, the attributes we will find out. The quantitative, which is related to the numbers. Here in scientific method, both can be applied. Now let's see the example. What kind of question we have to ask? That is, perhaps you want to test an experiment about the causal relationship between learners' academic achievement and study environment. If you want to take some experiment, you have to see the causal relationship. The study environment is affecting the learner. A good question to begin with might be, does study environment impact the learner's academic achievement? This could be a research question. That is, whether the study environment is impacting the learner's academic achievement or not. We are taking the question here. Now let's see the second step, perform research. That is, with your question formulated, conduct preliminary background research to put together yourself for the experiment. You have to search related to your question. You can locate information via online searches or to your local library, or relying at the question you are asking and the character of the history of facts and all. You have to find out. Related literature review you have to find out. You may additionally discover previous research and experiments that may assist along with your process and conclusions. They will help you a lot to come to any conclusion. First you have to ask a question, then find out whoever have done the research related to the question. You have to find out the review and find the conclusions what they have come up with. Then in this case, you might start by reviewing previous scientific studies about the causal relationship between learners' academic achievement and study environment. Anybody might have done the same question. You have to find out who have done the same related type of research. Then third one is establish hypothesis. That is, I have hypothesis already I explained is an educated guess that seeks to answer a question that can be systematically examined. The question which we are asking, there should be a tentative solution. That is, some inferences we have to make. Then systematically we have to examine whether the question is which is asked, that is, we have to find out the answer systematically. We have to design everything and we have to formulate some hypothesis, tentative solution to the question. Your hypothesis ought to additionally include your predictions that you can measure via experimentation and research. Obviously, whatever hypothesis you have made, you can include your prediction also into it. Let's see example. Based on your research, you start to fine-tune your thoughts about what will probably happen. If you are finding out, research already we know the meaning, searching again and again. That is why we are searching again and again to find out some probable solution, and we are having some probable solution also, hypothesis also. So there is how you have to give the hypothesis. Let's see through example. The question which we asked is whether any relationship is there between study environment and learner's academic achievement. For that, what kind of hypothesis we can make? There is no statistically significant effect of study environment on the learner's academic achievement. This is our tentative solution. Now the fourth one is test hypothesis by conducting an experiment. We have to test whatever hypothesis we made, whether it is correct or not, true or false, whether we have to reject or accept. Next, take a look at your hypothesis by conducting an experiment. Your test is a manner to quantifiably test your predictions and must be able to be repeated through every other scientist also. Whatever you are doing the testing, other researchers also can see your research and find their own solutions also. It will be helpful for them. Let's see the example. You decide to test it out. Your experiment tests whether your prediction is accurate and thus your hypothesis is supported or not. It is important for your experiment to be a fair test. We cannot have any malpractices in it or unethical things done here. Fair test should be conducted. You conduct a fair test by making sure that you change only one factor at a time while keeping all other conditions the same. So we have to conduct the experiment in such a manner it should be fair. We cannot change, or we can change only one factor at a time, not all the other, keeping the same conditions here. Now let's see the fifth one. Make an observation. Assess your scientific procedure and make certain that the situations remain the identical for the duration of all testing measures. If you convert any factors to your test, preserve all others the equal to hold equity. After you complete the experiment, repeat it a few more times to ensure the outcomes are accurate. That is, whatever test you have done, you have to analyze the thing, make the data and all, whether it is accurate or not. See, if any condition occur that you have to conduct the experiment once again, you have to do that also to bring the accurate outcome of your research. Now let's see the example. In reviewing the cause and effect of your experiment, you observe that the study environment did not impact the learner's academic achievement statistically. Whichever hypothesis you have made, that you have to test here, that is whether a study environment doesn't have any impact on learner's academic achievement statistically, we are telling. So the sixth one is analyze the results and draw a conclusion. Obviously, for each and every startup, we have some end also. We start something, we have to take some end to that also, that is conclusion. That is, you can now take your experiment findings and analyze them to determine if they support your hypothesis, whether whatever hypothesis you made, whether your research is supporting it or not. You have to analyze the things, drawing a conclusion approach, figuring out whether what you believed would happen actually happened. Whatever you are thinking, whatever your predictions are there, they are accurately are there or not, you have to see. If it did not occur, you can create a new hypothesis and go back to step 4 again. If it is not proper solution to your findings, you have to go back to your 4th step and conduct a new test to prove your new theory. Whatever theory you made, you have to prove it by again conducting the experiment. If what if you hypothesized came about at some point of the experimentation section, the very last step is placing together your findings and providing them to others. If everything is accurate and correct, you need not go back to the 4th step. You can continue and analyze the things and draw a conclusion and can give the findings to the others to search. Again, other researchers can take your research as an example. Let's see the example. You determine the study environment statically has no effect on the learner's academic achievement. This should be the conclusion of your research. If this conclusion is not there, then you have to go back to the 4th step and start experimenting again to prove yourself. Now the 7th last step, that is present the findings. The technique for presenting your findings relies upon your scientific position and level. If you are entering a project into the science fair, you will likely communicate your findings in a written report, on a display board, or during a presentation at the event. Otherwise, if you are a scientist by career, you would present your findings in a scientific publication or to your supervisors. If you are general normal researcher, you can publish your in journals, or you can present your research article in any some seminars are conducted, or any other things are conducted, then you can present your conferences are conducted, then you can present your research there, your findings, whatever. Example, you write a formal report and prepare an oral presentation to share your findings. Generally, we go to conferences. There you can show your all report there, whatever findings you have made. Now let's conclude this topic. When following the scientific method, scientists ought to ask questions, collect and take a look at the proof, and determine whether or not the answers to their questions can be found through that evidence. Scientists also use the approach to decide whether all facts offered and observed can integrate to create a logical solution. The scientific method provides a way to use logical and rational problem solving methods to scientific questions. So whatever scientific questions are there, problem solving methods are there, they are shown logically. The scientific method provides all the proofs and ways to use all these things. So scientists also use this approach, whether their facts offered or observed, whatever they have observed, whether they give the logical solution to that question or not. So we come to the end of this session. If you like the video, please do like, share, subscribe and comment below. Thanks for your attention and time. Happy learning.